Well, welcome and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to cover an interview done between the creator of the YouTube channel Chris Watts' Revelation and the Reckoning, Kim, and Chris Watts' father, Ronnie Watts. Now, this interview was posted on her channel on November 28th of 2020, so you may have already heard it. If so, this is not a new interview since then. I'm just now getting around to summarizing it for my viewers who may not have heard it or don't want to support that channel. Now, this is an interview with Ronnie Watts. He's Chris Watts' dad. So if you're not interested in hearing what he has to say, click off this video now. Or listen to the whole thing, whichever you prefer. But if you listen to the video, then leave a comment about how you don't care what he has to say, or you can't understand why I'd share what he said. I won't be posting your comment, because you make no sense. And I'm not posting negativity on my page. If you listen to this video, it's because you wanted to. Nobody's forcing you to. People don't realize how foolish they sound when they click on a video they know they won't like and then leave a comment that they don't like it. If you read the title of the video and you still clicked on it, then you're just trolling and you will not get your comment posted. Because I don't entertain foolishness on my channel. Take it somewhere else. On this channel, I will share information from all sides of this case, whether I agree with it or not. Because not everyone has the same opinion about what took place in this case, and I want everyone to hear all the information they can. I've made it no secret that I am not a Chris Watts fan, but I am able to listen to all sides of a story without getting offended and having to shut out information because I can't handle hearing it. If you don't like it, don't listen. I also have a couple things to share with you before I start. First off, Kim from the Chris Watts channel has started a Patreon for people to join if they want to get extra case information that she won't be releasing on her channel. So, from here on out, I don't expect to get any juicy information on her channel because she will be releasing it only for her patrons. Because I haven't been shocked by anything she's released yet, I won't be joining. I don't think I'll hear much more than I've already heard from her by joining, and I won't give any money that may contribute to Chris's defense in any way. So, I don't know that I'll have much to share with you from her channel from here on out. But she did state in a previous interview that she did on J is for Justice's channel that Chris would like very much to speak with Nichol Kessinger again. She says it's because he wants to see how she's doing, and he wants to apologize to her for everything that happened. But I'm sure he has so much more that he'd like to discuss with her. And if he gets his trial he's looking for, he may just get the chance to. Because if he goes to trial, NK will be the star. Now, we all know what happened with the channel that tried to pass off as Nicole's family, that disappeared and reappeared, which has changed its channel name again to the beautiful Natasha Cooper fan page, and has regained all its nearly 3,000 subscribers. And we all know they implied that NK has Chris Watts' baby. So in Kim's interview, she was asked if Chris knew about NK having his baby, and she claims he says he hasn't heard anything about her having his baby. But she must be well aware that he's seeking his day in court, which means she will be subpoenaed to testify if he gets it. And she can't be very happy about it. I'm sure she's tried very hard to put all this behind her, and now he's trying to set the stage to put her front and center again, which I don't mind one bit. Okay, on to Ronnie's interview. Word of warning. He says some things that are harsh against Shanann. So if that's not for you, I understand. Don't listen. But I do ask that if you express your opinions on this interview in my comments, please be civil and respectful. People may agree with him, and some people may not. But remember, none of us was in that relationship they had with Shanann. They have their opinions of her in real life. We have our opinions from what she presented online. I didn't know Shanann, so I can't say with 100% certainty the type of person she was, but neither can you. I don't believe she killed her kids, but I'm not one for sugarcoating who people are or were for the sake of saved feelings. So if you don't want to hear what he has to say, that may or may not be the truth, then don't listen. I, for one, want to hear all sides of this story. Here we go. The interview starts out with Ronnie saying he wants everyone to know that they support Kim's channel 100% and they believe in what she's doing. Kim asks him how often he and Cindy got to see Chris while he was there for a week in 2018 at the end of Shanann's visit. He said they went to the beach one day with Shanann, Chris, and the kids, but they didn't get to see him again until Chris went to see his grandmother the day before they left because Chris wouldn't allow it. I'm thinking it's due to the argument Shanann had with Cindy, I'm sure. That day, he said he picked Chris up from visiting his grandmother and took him back to his house where the Watts family sat and visited with him. He said that was when Chris told him that he and Shanann were getting a divorce and that Chris was looking for a 2-bedroom apartment for himself and the girls. Ronnie said Chris told him he worked out a schedule for the upcoming month so he could have the girls one week and Shanann could have them the next. Kim asked, "So you guys did know he was getting separated or getting a divorce?" He responded, "Well, that's the first we heard about it, but the house was already for sale." Kim said, "I don't think people know that you guys already knew." He said, "Yeah." He said he was ready to move on with his life. Then she brought up the letter that the Watts claim Chris wrote while at their house. She didn't state what he wrote, but we have all heard it was a letter stating that if anything bad happened between him and Shanann, it wasn't him or something to that effect. I never saw the letter. She asked Ronnie why Chris wrote the letter and how it came about. He told her because of the way Shanann had been acting the last 2 times she went to visit the Watts, arguing with Cindy and accusing Cindy of trying to give Cece something with nuts in it, when they all knew Cece couldn't have nuts. He said Cindy never gave Cece an ice cream, and the one his other grandchild ate was just a vanilla ice cream cup with no nuts in it. Ronnie actually referred to that incident as Nutgate, which kind of surprised me. I thought only we called it that. He said the time before that when Shanann came to visit them while she was there, he said Cindy went to get her hair done, and she offered to take Shanann back somewhere before she went. But Shanann said she'd just wait until Cindy got back. He said after a few hours, Shanann started blowing up his phone because she couldn't reach Cindy because Cindy had left her phone at the hair salon. He said she was fussing, saying, "You left me alone with these kids for 5 hours." And she was all upset. So he said to her, "Yeah, they're your kids too. You're not down here for us to watch them 24/7. Kim asked him what he initially thought when he heard Shanann and the girls went missing. He said he thought she just ran off somewhere punishing Chris for something because that's just the way she is. She asked him about Chris picking him up at the airport in Colorado after Shanann and the girls went missing, and he said that he and Chris didn't get to talk much because the Frederick Police Department kept calling Chris, but they had a bad connection, so Chris's phone kept dropping the call, and they had to keep calling back. But he did say Chris said one thing that he didn't understand at the time, but that he understands now. Chris said, "I should have just went to the Rockies game that night." She asked if Chris said anything to him during the first confession that hasn't been released to the public. He said yes, because when they were talking, Chris told him where the girls were at. Chris told him, "Dad, I could not put them with her after what she did to them. She was evil." Ironic, huh? But he wasn't evil for what he did to them? Then he says it again. He said he couldn't put them with her after what she did to them. Then she asked him to explain Chris's lack of emotion. He explains that he really doesn't cry, and he holds everything in. That's how he was brought up. And Kim asked him if Chris is the same way. He said yes. He said after Chris confessed, the police took him to a hotel, and he called the next morning trying to see him, but they said he wasn't allowed to have any visitors. So he left to go to the airport, and Chris's defense lawyers called him to go back to talk to them. He said he never got to see Chris again until the night before the plea deal. And that is the end of part 1. Part 2 starts with Kim asking if Ronnie ever got all Chris's belongings or any of the girls' belongings from the house in Frederick. He said Frank Rusak brought some of Chris's jerseys to him. He said he got his wallet, but they wouldn't give him Chris's phone. Something about him appealing the case. He said he asked the victim's advocate what evidence they had against Chris, and the advocate said they had a theory. He said a theory isn't evidence, but they never answered him about any evidence they had. Kim asked what he was feeling in court the day of sentencing. He said it was only the second time he had seen him since his arrest, and it was really hard thinking about losing the girls and all the things that have been hard on them for the last 2 years. They love Chris no matter what, and they are there for him because the whole world is against him, and they are all he's got left. He said they talk to him whenever he gets to call them. She asked if they got to talk to him prior to the plea deal. He said no. When they spoke with him the night before, they were told that if they discussed the case at all, they would get shut down. They were not to mention the case at all. He said the only thing that was said was that Cindy said to him, "Chris, if you did not do this, please don't accept a plea deal." He said Chris responded saying, "Mom, I made my decision." Ronnie said he didn't say I did it. He said Chris said it didn't matter if he killed 1 or 3. He was still going to do life in prison. So all they wanted to do then was save his life. Kim asked why the defense went out to their house and what they discussed with them. He said the defense told them that it didn't matter if it was 1 or 3. He was still going to get life in prison. She asked if Ronnie was worried about Chris getting the death penalty. He said no, not in Colorado. Then she asked him if there was a question about the DNA of the baby, and if they ever received any DNA from the baby. He said he asked the prosecutor about who the father of the baby was, but all the prosecutor said was, Chris. Then he told her the other person who was questionable was also named Chris, so she could make of that what she wanted. But they never received any DNA evidence on the baby at all, he said. He said the DA never interviewed his family during the course of the investigation, even though they told the public they did. She asked what he thought of them going to the Wisconsin prison to interview Chris. He said he didn't know if they needed to or not, but he and Cindy didn't know about it until after it happened. But Chris must have thought he needed to give them something, so they would leave him alone, he said. She asked what he really believes is the truth in this case. He said after seeing the hurt and the pain in Chris's face the day of the first confession, he believes that confession is true. He said the way Chris said he didn't want to put the girls with Shanann after what she did to them, and that she was evil, he believes him. She asked what he thinks of Chris wanting to do a 35C now. He said it's going to be a long, hard road, but they need an attorney who will dig deep into the case to see if they have any evidence, because all he was told was that they had a theory. He said if there was any evidence in the house, it's long gone by now, because anyone and everyone has been in that house. Kim asked why he thinks Chris wants to fight now when he didn't fight back then. He said he thinks Chris was in shock for so long after what happened, and he suffered from PTSD for so long, and it still hurts him every day. None of them are back to a normal life, he said. She asked about their own special memorial they have set up for the girls. He said they have one in their garden, and he sees it every day. She asked him about how he feels about her putting out all the information that she has, and he said some people want to hear the explanation, which she has done, according to him, and some people don't want to see the facts, they just want to talk. Then she thanks Ronnie and concludes the interview. Now, not gonna lie, I'd love to see this case go to court. I'd love to watch it all play out. I'd like to see if Chris would get on the stand and testify after he wanted the trial, or if he'd hide behind his attorneys. I'd like them to subpoena Nichol Kessinger and drill her on the stand. I'd be curious to see if Chris would stay loyal to her or turn against her to try to save his own ass. I'd like to see a lot of things. But one of my favorite YouTubers, attorney Scott Reisch, has threatened to pop my balloon on his channel by putting out a video on December 4th saying that Chris will never get out of prison, which we know, but also that he will never get the trial he seeks either. He goes through the legal documents and the reasons why in his video, and he makes some very excellent points. So, if you're interested in hearing what he has to say about it from an attorney's point of view, his channel is called Crime Talk, and he does a really good job of explaining cases. And believe it or not, his video has almost 60 thumbs down on it. That just goes to show how ungrateful some people can be. He's an attorney, giving his legal opinion to us to help us navigate the legal aspects of this case for free on YouTube, and people don't even appreciate it. It's sad. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you on my next video.